Hello, welcome to Business Notes. This is your host, Diane Bogino, and our guest tonight is all the way from Pennsylvania, Marjorie Brody, and Marjorie is founder and CEO of Brody Professional Development. One of the most sought-after speakers and executive coaches in America, Marjorie Brody provides a hardcore reality check for all working professionals, helping them to communicate like leaders. She's been described as experienced, wise, irreverent, I like that, remarkably insightful, honest, and classy. With enough degrees, honors, awards, certifications, and rave reviews to fill a bookcase, she delves into the vital characteristics, behaviors, and strategies that lead to career success. She's an award-winning author of 18 books. As an internationally recognized speaker, Marjorie has earned the designation of CSP, Certified Speaking Professional, and CPAE, which stands for?
Well, it's the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Speaker Hall of Fame. And you've also appeared on CNN and Good Morning America, I believe?
I've been on a lot of national TV and appeared in a lot of magazines and been interviewed, yeah.
Great. Well, we appreciate you being here with GBDN tonight.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Marjorie, tell us how important is networking even when you're working, and what are some of the best ways to do it?
Yeah, I think it is critical that you're building a constant network, because what you want is to build advocacy. So people that know who you are, what you do, and are in the position to refer you, recommend you. The problem is people wait until they need something, and then they call. And it's like, well, why didn't you build a relationship in advance? So it's a continual build, and then you have people to call when you need it, and of course it's always about helping other people as well. The law of reciprocity clearly works when it comes to networking.
I agree. You know, a word that is bandied about today is accountability, and I know that's something that you speak on. Can you give us some pointers about that?
Well, I really believe that each of us has to be ready to say, I own the results. No matter what the role is, it's not my job, it's not my fault, this is not okay. And I think in everything that we do, if we can be accountable for that. There's a wonderful book called The Oz Principle, and they talk about see it, and then own it, and then solve it, and then do it. And when I talk about accountability, I really look a lot in terms of your own attitude, performance, behavior, courage, and having some perspective as well.
Marjorie, tell us, why is it important for leaders to be able to identify strategies and their own skills?
Well, I think you need to know what you do well, and then be open to getting the help that you need. I don't know that one person has to be able to do everything, but understand what your own talents are and leverage those, and then pull in people that are smarter than you are and willing to help you achieve whatever that goal or that mission is.
Marjorie, how do you help organizations keep their top talent on track?
It's really important that employees today, I think a lot of times companies say, you know what, there's unemployment and we don't care about these people. Not true. You want to keep your most talented. And so the very fact that you're willing to invest in them, you're willing to help them, work with them, this is the time to be doing it. So when things turn around, whatever that's going to mean or look like, there's a loyalty factor, they are prepared. And today I was reading about having not exit interviews, but ongoing interviews to see what's working, what isn't working. So the people you want to keep, the talent you want, feel appreciated. And it's really important that we're doing that on an ongoing basis.
We've heard a lot about boot camps lately, but you have the Brody Boost Camp. Tell us about that.
It's really about boosting your professionalism. So it's been a one-day event that we've done several times where we talk about professional savvy, we talk about networking, we talk about personal marketing, we talk about presentation. So it helps retool people. They walk out of there feeling much more comfortable, and they have the tools that are necessary. They've also met a lot of other people in it from different corporations, so they walk out and they say, I can be the best that I can be. So we're boosting their professionalism, their motivation, everything, rather than booting them. Who wants to boot them,
That's right. Good point. So tell me, how do you go about customizing every training program you do when you train different teams?
Well, it's understanding. Don't forget, the topics. I know the topics. So I can go deep in any topic around communication, presentation, accountability, personal marketing, listening, different kinds of communication programs. So it's understanding how it's used in different corporations and what they're valuing and what their climate is all about. So, for example, I was doing a webinar the other day with a big biotech out in California, and I know how they give presentations. I know the expectation. I know that they break a lot of the rules. And so for me to say, well, you got to do it this way would be a little counterproductive. So I'll say, well, this is what the expectations are when you do it, but you might want to try shifting here and seeing if you get a different result. So the more you talk their language, they feel like you're part of who they are. You know their pain, their issues, and then you can move them that way. So it's not that resistance. There's no resistance.
Good. Now, you've helped organizations in over 21 industries. How have you been able to transcend so many industries but still remain effective?
Diane, we really focus on about 4 key industries. Just know that. But when you think about it, does communication or presentation vary from industry to industry? You know, every company says, oh, well, we're different. I go, you're different. Okay, tell me how you're different. But the reality is we're dealing with people, we're dealing with teams, we're dealing with projects, we're dealing with deadlines, we're dealing with budgets. You know, does it really matter if it's pharmaceutical or if it's in computers or if it's going to be in financial services? The needs are very, very similar. We just like to think that we're different. And our job, of course, is to identify what does separate them.
What advice might you give somebody that's just starting a business today? You've had a long and successful business, but somebody just starting out today, do you think it's harder, easier?
I think there are more people that are out on their own today. So again, it would depend on what type of business we're talking about. I think you have to have a plan, a business plan. So you have to have a direction. You really need the right people on board with you to help you through. So your own, even if you're a one-person shop, your own board of directors, you got to have enough money in that bank to last at least 6 months. I find that I talk to a lot of my corporate clients now that have been laid off, and they're saying, this is hard. We're trying to open up our own coaching and consulting businesses, and it's a whole other world, and they have to do everything themselves. They're not used to doing that. So I'm talking about this tomorrow when I talk in my presentation, but a lot of, you start, to quote Covey, begin with the end in mind. You've got to know your talents, your capabilities, your passion, and what are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do? What do you need to do to be able to get to where you need to be? And it's having your own business is not for the faint of heart.
That's for sure. Any advice for businesses that are already functioning and how they can remain productive and profitable?
Well, you keep in mind a few things. One is it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Gross is not net. You don't spend what you don't have. Always keep your eye on the business end of the business. Often we get in because we like design or we like to speak or we like accounting, but there's the whole business. And again, I'm talking about tomorrow, knowing what your products and services are and being really clear so they're focused. We're talking about knowing who your market is. And do they have the money to pay for what it is that you want? Then how do you attract these people through marketing and sales? And there's a difference between marketing and sales, and then running your business as a business, because that's what it is.
Marjorie, thank you so much for being with us this evening. Really appreciate your time. We've been talking with Marjorie Brody. Please visit her website and pick up at least one of her 18 books. This is Diane Bogino saying so long now.